Let's talk about another strange weapon. Now, this one was invented, was never used, but it was invented after the attack on Pearl Harbor. Now, the Americans wanted a way to bomb Japan. Japan. I'm going to say China then. Modern day conflict. So they wanted a way to bomb Japan with incendiary devices. Now, they already had, typical incendiary devices, but they wanted something better. Now, if you don't know what incendiary devices, it's a bomb that usually drops, and it drops a load of fragments that catch fire and set fire to buildings, cause a firestorm and all that. Hideous thing. Now, they were the ones they had, but they were viable, but they weren't brilliant, So they were looking at better ways of doing it. And someone came up with an idea of making a bat bomb. And the idea was to make a bomb casing, fairly large one, fill it full of bats, basically, and the bats would have little incendiary devices attached to them somehow, and then you'd fly over your target, drop the bomb, and as the bomb floats down, it would open its casing and all the bats would fly out before they hit the ground and went splat. Now, the US Air Force tested this, and believe it or not, they were pretty encouraged with how it worked. Now, the idea behind using bats and not sparrows or anything like that was you would do this mission at night time or just before dawn, and the idea being is the bats would then fly off into rooftops and places like that to hide, because they're nocturnal animals, so during the day they would quickly go and roost somewhere, and then all of a sudden the timer would go off and poof, little fires starting all over. And the testing of this showed it was really successful. Basically, it worked. And one of the reasons why they know it worked is because they had a little accident with some live bats, and they managed to burn down one of their bases with it. I kid you not. So that's quite funny. Now, did they ever use it in combat? No. So imagine doing it today, Oh, we've got this new weapon, it's great. Yeah. Live animals, we attach little bombs to them and say, charge! Now, some of you would already know out there are animals that actually did do that in World War II. The Russians had tank dogs, but that's another story. So they discovered that it worked extremely well, but it was never used in actual combat, simply because they were developing the nuclear bomb at the end of the day. And the nuclear bomb was coming along, and they were like, well, this is the story. Personally, I think they just thought it's a bit bat crazy. But the story is the nuclear bomb was coming along, and they were kind of like, well, we don't need this sort of thing. So even though it was incredibly effective, it was shelved, shall we say. But yeah, it was pretty amazing, huh? I can just see the guy trying to pitch this. Yeah, I've got a great idea, great idea for a new weapon. And they'll be like, what's that? Well, let's attach little bombs to bats, and then we're, ignite them once they roost in the houses. And they'll be like, what the f are you going on about? But no, it happened. They did it, and they proved it actually worked, but it was never actually utilised. See you next time. Oh yeah, comment, subscribe and all that crap. I don't know why people have to say that nowadays. Yeah, it's terrible. It's all about the algorithm.